Mercedes, furious, after Azerbaijan GP, as new evidence found. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Lewis Hamilton reveals component on Mercedes F1 car wasn't correctly built. Lewis Hamilton has revealed a component on his Mercedes F1 car wasn't correctly built, leading to his lack of performance in qualifying at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Hamilton endured a miserable weekend in Baku, finishing 9th after starting from the pit lane. The 7-time world champion opted to start from the pits after taking a new power unit. The decision was taken after Hamilton qualified 7th, 4/10ths off teammate George Russell. Hamilton was unable to recover from the back of the grid, ultimately finishing 9th, benefiting from a crash involving Sergio Perez and Carlos Sainz. Speaking to media, including Crash.net, after the race in Baku, Hamilton said, "We had a great car on Friday. We made the tiniest changes into Saturday. One of the components wasn't correctly built. That led us the wrong way then on Saturday. We didn't find out until the end of the day. Being this race was the best race they said at least to make the change. We need one engine as I lost one earlier. We knew it was going to be a tough day." Crash.net asked Hamilton what the component was, but he refused to comment. Despite fixing the car when it was taken out of park firm conditions, Hamilton struggled for race pace. Onboard footage showed Hamilton driving in a peculiar way, turning in sharply and not driving how he usually would. The 39-year-old conceded the balance of his Mercedes was one of the worst he's ever had in F1. "It was the worst balance I've probably ever had, he added. "One of the worst balances. Basically, I had so much front end but no rears I had to turn. It's not the way you drive. I had to yank the steering to break the traction from the front, slide the front through every corner. It's the weirdest way I had to drive. I knew that I wouldn't be able to overtake. It's difficult to follow in the middle, at least be close at the end. I don't know why our pace was so bad on our side. It happens." Mercedes pair George Russell and Lewis Hamilton had contrasting fortunes during Friday's free practice sessions for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Russell needed a change of engine after early issues, which were compounded by further problems towards the end of the day. After FP1, Mercedes spotted an anomaly in the oil analysis it was conducting on Russell's engine. It then decided to swap in a different engine from his pool for FP2, which delayed him getting into the session. The team is confident the removed engine can be used again and it will be fully analyzed, but the understanding is the change was made for precautionary reasons rather than anything being obviously broken. Russell was left looking across the garage for hope ahead of qualifying as he goes into the weekend on the back foot. When asked if the reason for the issue had been found, Russell said, "For now, no. Not too sure exactly, we just knew we had to change the engine. So we had a problem after FP1, obviously delayed the session, and then we also had a problem at the end of the session too. It wasn't our finest Friday, that is for sure, but Lewis is looking quick out there. So we know the car is capable of something strong, but once again Ferrari look really, really strong around here. They always seem to be fast in Baku. The problem was the engine in FP1, then at the end, it was actually a sensor failure. So we pitted because we thought we had a water leak, but we didn't." Even when he could complete some running, Russell was not happy with his performance and will need to rally himself to improve. "It was feeling okay. It wasn't feeling superb for me out there," he added. "I was struggling. I was definitely off the pace compared to Lewis. I was really struggling with confidence in the car and getting my tires in the right window, so I need to try and step up my game a little bit for tomorrow and try and close the gap." The second story is George Russell sets retirement date amid Mercedes plot to sign Max Verstappen. George Russell has revealed how much longer he plans on racing in Formula One amid big changes at Mercedes. The Briton has told how he believes he can race for another 20 years as he prepares to become the main man at Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton is set to leave at the end of the season to join Ferrari in a stunning move, while teenage hotshot Kimi Antonelli will be promoted from the F2 to become Russell's new teammate. But Mercedes' dream is to sign Verstappen, who is having problems with Red Bull this season, while team principal Toto Wolff has admitted talks have been held. Ahead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, Russell has insisted he could race well into his 40s to reassert himself as Mercedes' main guy. The 26-year-old, who joined the Silver Arrows in 2022, said, "The last 2 years have flown by, and I feel I still have 15 to 20 years ahead of me. That's why I don't see it as lost time. As a driver, you always want a perfect car. You learn that this is not possible." Russell joined Mercedes as Red Bull took over as the dominant force in Formula One, with Verstappen winning the last 2 world championships. But problems have arisen this year at the Austrian team, with legendary designer Adrian Newey already being poached by Aston Martin. And Russell has explained how empires can crumble in the blink of an eye in motor racing. "If you are successful for a long time, people think it will last forever. That is a misconception," he said. "When Vettel became world champion 4 times in a row, people couldn't imagine anyone else winning. It was the same with Lewis, and now maybe also with Max. If the season had started after the summer break, nobody would be able to say who would be world champion. This, in the nature of this sport." Wolff has openly courted Verstappen as he looks to sign a big star to replace Hamilton, and before the season got underway, he spoke with the Dutchman's manager Raymond Vermeulen and Father Joos. But then we together came to the conclusion over the summer that we shouldn't be waiting for something to happen before committing for 2025, but let's just continue our job, Max at Red Bull, and here at Mercedes taking our own driver decisions, and that was a kind of a joint thought. While there is no chance of Verstappen joining Mercedes in 2025, the team are plotting to land the Red Bull star in 2026, despite his contract expiring in 2028. Lewis Hamilton admitted there are a lot of question marks over Mercedes' loss of pace since the summer break. The Silver Arrows ended the first part of the season strongly, with victory for George Russell in Austria, followed up by a couple of Hamilton wins at Silverstone and Spa-Francorchamps. A new floor was introduced at that latter event, and they showed excellent pace in the Grand Prix. But they have struggled to replicate that performance since the summer break. And the team is not sure whether to persist with their upgrade or revert to the previous floor in a bid to rediscover their best pace. Giving his view on the situation, Hamilton made clear his belief that the changes to the floor made the key difference. He said, "There are lots of question marks. We're trying to understand it." The third story is Kimi Antonelli opens up on mental struggles after Monza, despite Mercedes' F1 announcement. Andrea Kimi Antonelli has experienced a week filled with intense highs and lows. As Mercedes announced Antonelli's promotion to a Formula One seat for the 2025 season, the young driver reflected on the emotional toll of the past weeks, including a challenging debut at Monza and a near-pole finish in Formula 2 qualifying. In Azerbaijan, Antonelli narrowly missed winning his first pole position in Formula 2 by a margin of 0.017 seconds, placing him second in the feature race. Reflecting on his performance, Antonelli commented, as quoted by GP blog, "A bit disappointed. Second was good, but of course P2 for such a small gap is always a bit frustrating, but I think it was a good session. I managed to build up lap by lap and managed to secure a good lap on the second set of tires, which wasn't easy, because obviously the red flag came out pretty early on during the first push, so it broke the rhythm a bit." Antonelli faced another significant challenge during his Formula One debut for Mercedes in FP1 at Monza, where his session ended abruptly due to a crash. This incident compounded the difficulties of an already strenuous weekend, especially as it was also confirmed that he would replace 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes next year. Monza was not a really nice weekend. On the mental side, it was really hard. But it was a good relief to have the announcement finally official. It's been 2 busy weeks because I'm already trying to work closely with Mercedes to understand and just to learn few things. I'm also going to do some trackside work in the future, just to see how a full race weekend works. It's been a pretty intense 2 weeks, but now I feel much better on the mental side that the announcement is finally official. Commenting on his upcoming debut Formula One season with Mercedes, Antonelli explained, "It is an amazing feeling to be announced as a Mercedes Works driver alongside George for 2025. Reaching F1 is a dream I've had since I was a small boy. I want to thank the team for the support they've given me in my career so far and the faith they've shown in me.